prostate cancer is the second most diagnosed cancer in men behind skin cancer and is the second leading cause of cancer death in men in America behind lung cancer. The numbers from the American Cancer Society came out last week. Prostate cancer diagnoses will surpass breast cancer this year.
Really?
It will be the number one most diagnosed cancer in men.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Frank.
Today, we are so excited. It's all about advocacy, humanity, and health.
Yes, it is, Lisa. Leo and Brandy Nunes share how lived experience can drive real change.
Let's get encouraged.
People don't realize, like, when a cancer diagnosis occurs, there's no, like, going back, right? It's not like, oh, like, there's a lot of times you wake up and you're like, wow, is this really the new normal? Like, is this really every single day of the rest of our lives? It's like, oh yes, this is every single day now of the rest of our lives. Yeah. The problem with prostate cancer is that most people assume it's an old man's disease.
Yeah.
And it's not.
But it's getting younger and younger.
Yep.
And a man is diagnosed in America, so over 333,000 men being diagnosed this year. That's a man every 94 seconds is being diagnosed in America with prostate cancer. And then a man dies from the disease every 15 minutes. One of the men that was with us, prostate cancer survivor for many years, has incontinence issues. So he's here climbing Kilimanjaro. He had to bring supply of pads while we're climbing because of the fact that he has no urinary continence.
Welcome to Be Encouraged, Colorado's voice of growth and good. I'm Frank.
I'm Lisa.
Yes, she is. And today's show, Lisa, tell us about it.
Yes, so today's show is sponsored by The Hive. We have the owner here today, Kylan. I almost call you Kai.
Some people do.
That's my grandson.
Yeah, and my daughter's daughter. He's my fur baby. Okay, so The Hive, a platform connecting purpose-driven dreamers to the experts. Want to champion them? The Hive is where impactful visions are showcased and connected with quality support. Visit The Hive at thehive.vision, and you guys can check out the flyer later.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not done.
All right, today's conversation is deeply personal and incredibly important about health advocacy and how lived experience can drive real change.
Indeed. Oh, there we're
ready.
talking about it.
Buckle up.
Yeah, as always here on the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa, we like to start with this. Which one of these guys is our panel host?
Brandy. She's
Brandy.
the one that messaged me. This guy ignores me. But Brandy's on it, per usual.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we
That's
always
usually
get
the case.
We always get the wire.
All decisions go through her, so just might as well just get me anyways.
So I don't have to answer.
Yes, that's why I don't have the answer.
Right.
She's going to make the decision anyway.
Yes.
So good seeing you.
Good to see you,
guys.
Frank.
Wait a minute, before we start this thing, because I know our audience is going to go, what's up with the hair?
Let's just address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know us, we're Brandy and Leo Nunes. We own a healthcare agency here in Colorado Springs. Most people know us for the blue hair. It started in September of 2023. September of 2022. Seriously, the past 3 years have been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Leo was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and just like for women, we have a color in a month, so do men. And so Leo was diagnosed in August. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and the color is light blue. And he was like, look, I can either be silent like most men, or I can, wave the flag and help other people understand that we need to address this problem. And so I was like, let's do it. And it's been 3 years now, and it's been blue ever since. And what was Prostate Cancer Awareness Month became Prostate Cancer Awareness Year. Year after year. Yeah.
Obviously, just as an update, I'm not 100% cancer free. So for me, prostate cancer awareness is every single day of my life.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
But it's does everybody asks.
Yeah. Right.
And it starts that conversation for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. This question almost feels like a non-question, but because it's on my paper, I'm going to ask you anyway.
Yeah, please.
Brandy, what's been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome so far in your journey?
Which journey? The entrepreneur journey or life in general? I don't know. Biggest thing we've had to overcome. Honestly, I will tell you my biggest thing. Now, this is separate from Leo, but my biggest thing I've had to overcome was honestly dealing with his cancer diagnosis. because it changed everything for us. Like the whole way that we operate our business, our outlook on life, how we handle things, it has absolutely changed everything.
You had to learn how to cook too, right?
Oh yeah, we changed our eating habits, and that it was a huge shift.
Yeah.
People don't realize, like, when a cancer diagnosis occurs, there's no like going back, right? It's not like, oh, like there's a lot of times you wake up and you're like, wow, is this really the new normal? Like, is this really every single day of the rest of our lives? It's like, oh yes, this is every single day now of the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And you learn how to navigate that, but it's a huge shift in the beginning. That's been hard to accept and hard to figure out, like, where does your place fall within the story? And then how does it align with you as a person and what you're doing and where you're going?
Yeah.
It literally has changed everything.
Well,
Everything.
I commend you because there have been marriages wrecked
Oh, yes.
with a severe illness like that.
Oh, yes.
The other spouse just jets, and they're
Yeah.
like, "No, too much for me."
Yeah.
But
And we've met those
watching
people.
You, it's been, I believe it. Watching you though, as the wife, I mean, step up and learn how to cook, how to be strong by his side.
How to wear your hair blue.
How to wear your
I'm
hair.
telling you, seriously, it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's you still, and especially for us, like we still own a business that we have to operate and be successful at. We have clients that are expecting us to live up to what we said we were going to do to help care and take care of them. While you're still going through a bunch of stuff yourself,
Right.
trying to figure out how do I process and digest all this stuff? How do I be the best I can be for him? Like it's literally changed everything. Our perspective on life is way different now. And for the past few years, like we were discussing before we got started, it's been a lot of work. This year, it's going to be more, I decided this year was going to be more of standing in like our story. This is who we are. We don't have to make exceptions for that.
Right.
This is our journey.
Yeah.
And accept it or don't.
Yep.
Would you say you guys are closer as a couple?
Oh yes, and honestly, it started before the cancer diagnosis. We had done a course that really opened up our ability to communicate as a couple,
Nice.
which was
What
really
was that?
well, it's some woo woo stuff. Like not everybody. So we did. We do a lot of
Tony
self-help stuff. So we did
Robbins.
Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did. A lot of people think
Well,
he
some
is.
people
Yes.
think so.
A lot of
Like, you know,
people are
they-
very anti-Tony, but
Yeah.
we love Tony Robbins, and
That's great.
I had never really. I mean, I knew who he was, but never really like dived into any of his work or any of that kind of stuff. And we had a partnership that was doing a class. We were extended it at a lower cost. We did that class together, and it was great. I was like, wow, this is really weird. A lot of the things that you're feeling in life, I feel in life, and we're not talking about that. You know? And so that was really where it started. And then when the cancer diagnosis came, it did help us communicate more. But at the same time, it's really hard because people don't know. Like, you can tell somebody's going through stuff,
Yeah.
and you try to ask questions. And
Right.
it's like when they're shut down, they're shut down.
Yeah.
So there's still times when you're still kind of like chiseling away, trying
Of course.
to, you know, like any relationship.
Well, marriage is no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot of work.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who you're married to, it's a thing. And then the men, they go into their cave.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And then especially if you're like business partners too. So
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a double
we
whammy.
might even explore that a little later.
telling
But,
you.
yeah, but how about you,
Yeah.
my friend? We want to ask you the same question because we know you both talk well,
Thank you.
you know, and you communicate well. And our audience is going to get some real richness today. Like you guys rock.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Pretty open book.
So what's the biggest challenge that you feel like you've had to overcome so far in your journey, Leo?
Oh gosh, real. It's just I don't. You know what? It's been interesting because there's been some challenges, and really, when it comes to the actual specifically the diagnosis. I mean, well, the journey's really crazy because we got into the healthcare industry before all this happened, and have been helping small businesses here in Colorado Springs. Our business model is to help small businesses provide employee benefits, healthcare to their people. And so we're already working in this healthcare space, and then I become the person that's now gone from someone that is promoting healthcare and trying to put healthcare for other people, and now having to utilize healthcare for myself. And that gave me a lot of perspective because I came across some challenges in the healthcare in my journey, just dealing with healthcare. And then luckily I got to use the same kinds of things that we're putting into our small businesses for myself, and got to see how that path is different than some other ways it could have gone. So initially, early challenges is being as a business owner, running the business, but it was at the same time, having had learned the experience of what our business does and how it navigating the healthcare system was huge after the diagnosis. But then still, we get that diagnosis. It's the fear, the uncertainty, anger. You go through just a myriad of emotions after that diagnosis because you're looking for whys and whats and what did I do wrong and why me and all these kinds of things, and you will dig yourself into a just unbearably dark hole. And I fell in that hole multiple times. But then you got to find something that motivates you and gives you purpose, and also just see that it's like it's very cliche, but every cloud has a silver lining, right? Yep. You've got to look for the dark and you got to look for the light in the dark. And and one of the things that going back a little bit to Tony Robbins, one of his and this quote of his has stayed with me through a lot of this journey, and is what inspires me too, is that life happens for you, not to you. And so even when bad things happen in life, and not necessarily what you're expecting, it's not that it's happening to you, it's happening for you, and you got to find out why it's happening for you. And so through the diagnosis, it was challenging at first. I had to figure out how I was going to find treatment, how I was going to get better. Right, the biggest thing is healing. And so that's why we did major lifestyle changes, really dove into that, because yes, you can rely on Western medicine and you can, go to see the doctors and the oncologists and all that kind of stuff, but cancer can come back. 50%, 50% of all cancer cases come back. Yeah. And so, and I want to make sure that, hey, if I'm going to beat cancer, it's going to stay me. And so, big challenge was learning a lot of how to literally shift my entire lifestyle. That was a huge challenge. But then in the process of that, finding purpose has been the great, the benefit out of it, and becoming an advocate, and also through my own experience of it, because when I got diagnosed, when I looked for resources here in Colorado Springs, there are no dedicated resources for prostate cancer patients in Colorado Springs.
Which is so amazing.
There are no support groups at all. In person.
Are there now?
No. There's still no dedicated support.
We're working on that.
That's part of the goals for 2026.
Okay.
I am going to go through a support leader program to get certified to be a support leader for Zero Prostate Cancer, which is a national nonprofit providing direct resources and support to men and family that are going through the disease. And so they have a support group. They have a support group leadership program, and so I'm going to go with that program, get certified, so I can start a support group here in Colorado Springs.
Wow! Love it.
Wow!
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of taps into the next question.
Yeah.
So Leo, you're widely known in community for using your cancer journey to advocate, early detection and awareness. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness you found it early. What first compelled you to step into that role publicly, like getting out there? I felt like you hit the ground immediately public. Like there was no shying away from it. So what prompted you to do that?
I think timing a little bit, and then once I found, I'm a very data analytical person.
Yes,
and so, so I don't know you could probably see while you're watching me, like the wheels are turning. There's hamsters, there's squirrels, there's all types of rodents in there, all trying to make that wheel spin. But when I got diagnosed, or even before so my diagnosis, from the initial elevated blood test, because prostate cancer screening is a blood test, folks. It's no more of this kind of thing. It's a blood test, guys. Go get it done. Yes, and that's why it's so. And we'll get into statistics and stuff later. Like I said, analytical. But let me finish. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
That's throwing me off. So you don't have to the guys don't have to
bend over a table. The doctor puts the glove on and goes like, let's feel around.
Before.
Yeah.
Colonoscopy is not
that's what's scary.
Colonoscopy is for colon cancer. Prostate cancer is totally different.
Oh, okay.
But the only way to physically, for a doctor, for a physician to physically touch the prostate or feel the prostate without literally cutting a man open is rectally. Yeah. But at that same time, though, they can only feel the backside of the prostate. Mm-hmm. So there's about 60% of the prostate that they cannot touch or feel when they do that exam. And that's why the exam is not a guarantee of being able, a doctor does that exam. It's like, I don't feel nothing, you're good. And that's why the blood test, the PSA, prostate-specific antigen blood test, was developed in the early 90s and it's been adopted for the past 30 about 30 years.
Well, why was it when I went? That wasn't was used for me. Mine was the old rectal.
You need to get a new doctor.
Yeah,
He's
you
having fun with you.
Yeah, you got to get a doctor that's with the times, Frank.
He's a little old school.
Yeah, you know you're paying him extra for that.
Yeah. No, but I'm sorry, we went totally on a tangent now. What was the original question?
Oh, that's okay. Let's move
You're
on.
saying,
Just being active, like vocally.
well, yeah,
Like
well,
to
so
get out there.
yeah, so then it was a long process, my diagnosis. So it was February when I had the blood result, the PSA test done, and the numbers were a little bit elevated, but still in normal range. And then I went through this process of, okay, let's go see the urologist, right? And that takes weeks to get into his office. And then it was, okay, well, let's go get an MRI. And that took weeks to get the MRI. And then it took weeks to get the result back from the MRI because of a medical mishap. And then it was like, oh, there's something there. We got to schedule a biopsy. And then, oh, let's do the biopsy. Then you send the biopsy results to the lab and all that. That whole process took 6 months. So before I actually learned that it was cancer. So in the process, there were 6 months of me going, okay, there's these tests that are coming back at normal. What could it be? What it could? And I started doing the WebMD and trying to be my own doctor. But in that process, and obviously I knew this was all leading towards prostate cancer, right? Is the potential of what it could or could not be. And in that process of like learning more information, being like, I want to be prepared for the diagnosis. If it is, I want to be like, I already want to know what my options are and not just be kind of like walking into the doctor's office blind. I started to find some just very frustrating and very disappointing and unfortunate information that like more people needed to know. And that's why for me, like it was whenever I got diagnosed and it was for certain, I was like, I can't stay silent because, and this is where I'll probably go into some details. Prostate cancer is the second most diagnosed cancer in men behind skin cancer. And is the second leading cause of cancer death in men in America behind lung cancer. Prostate cancer, the numbers from the American Cancer Society came out last week. Prostate cancer diagnoses will surpass breast cancer this year.
Really?
It will be the number one most diagnosed cancer in men.
Wow.
Yeah. This year, 333,000 men this year will be diagnosed with prostate cancer.
But
It's a jump of over 20,000 compared to last year.
you don't see blue tops on YoPlay or
No.
football players wearing blue
Blue in
sneakers
September.
or any of this
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
there is
Like the
men
pink thing.
do not
Yeah.
talk about it. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. Leo's like, I could live in silence.
Yeah.
Or I can share my story, which is now my purpose,
Yeah.
to let people know that they're not alone.
I love that.
And there's other people that are going through it. The problem with prostate cancer is that most people assume it's an old man's disease.
Yeah.
And it's not.
But it's getting younger and younger.
Yep.
And a man is diagnosed in America. So at over 333,000 men being diagnosed this year, that's a man every 94 seconds is being diagnosed in America with prostate cancer.
Woo.
And then a man dies from the disease every 15 minutes in America.
Colorado
yeah.
stats are scary.
Yeah.
Our state
Colorado
stats.
ranks 4th in the country for prostate cancer mortality.
Why?
We also rank 5th from the bottom when it comes to prostate cancer early detection screening, the PSA blood test,
So
as far as men getting tested. So low early detection testing, high death rate means that by the time men are, because prostate cancer is a symptom-free disease until it's advanced. If you start feeling the symptoms of seeing the symptoms of prostate cancer, blood in the urine, you're waking up all times of the night to go to the bathroom, constant urination, pain in your bones, pain in your hips, pain in your spine. A lot of and that's because the cancer is spreading into the bones, into other organs and things like that. By the time that develops, you're already stage 4. You're becoming metastatic cancer, and the survivability rate of that is only about 38%, 5 years. So I think, correlation in Colorado, low early detection testing. So by the time that men actually get detected, because they're experiencing symptoms, it's all late stage diagnosis, which reduces the chances from a 99% 5-year survivability to 38%. And so so access to early detection testing is something that we need to fight for in Colorado.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being public about it.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. Wow.
Mhm.
That makes my head spin.
It's a lot.
I know it's a lot of data.
It's a
No,
lot.
I was
Yeah.
blown away with the
Yeah.
numbers because I've been already on this journey for 3 years, and so I'd already been tracking numbers from the American Cancer Society, National Institutes of Health, National Cancer, all these different cancer data. I love data, and so I started extrapolating data and actually started using AI and going like, can you show me like progression? Like, can you compare what what we're looking at in the next couple of years? And when I ran models, a year ago, it was already saying that like by mid 2026 that prostate cancer would surpass breast cancer. And then the numbers for the American Cancer Society came out just last week, and they already and the numbers for breast cancer are actually lower in diagnosis than prostate cancer.
Yeah. So your love for numbers,
Yes.
do you think how does that impact your mental health?
It's exhausting, I can tell you that. Like, I told him last night, I said, man, it must be exhausting living in your head. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not,
There's hamsters and squirrels and all things.
this is why we're such a good partnership, because I am not that data person, right? I mean, I need that 30,000 foot view.
Yeah.
So we're a good complement to each other. But
I like to I like to think of myself as always trying to be a solution solver.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is how can I make things better. And so when I looked at all this data, and I think it's become like a personality trait. Is how can I look at things like, well, how can I make this better? When I was a kid, I used to take my toys apart to try and like make the motor run faster or do things like that, like get the remote control car to be faster by boosting up the power. I used to try and take things apart and then try and like make them better. And so I think that's kind of even grown into my like adulthood and like when the business, hey, I looked at healthcare and healthcare is broken. How can we make it better? And so we found different alternatives to doing healthcare, and that's how we built a business in the healthcare space. And then with my diagnosis, it's like, oh my gosh, this prostate cancer. The awareness around prostate cancer is broken. Like there's men that need resources and needs help and support, and there's no access for them, and no one's talking about it. I was like, how can we fix this? And I was like, well then, I guess I'm going to take the bull by the horns and color my hair blue and do crazy things to try and bring awareness.
Yeah.
So that's been the journey for 3 years, and it's by no means is it are we close to the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Brandy.
Yes.
Many employers want to help their people access care, but
Woo.
they feel trapped by the cost and complexity.
oh yeah.
What do you think is the most misunderstood about healthcare benefits today?
That there's only one solution on the market, and that's major medical insurance.
Still, really?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I feel like, at least in this community,
Here's the thing you have to understand. Colorado Springs is kind of the anomaly when it comes to trying to do things in the alternative space. A lot of people that work in the traditional insurance system, as far as brokers, don't really advocate for alternative stuff like we do. And I think that's why we have a little bit of a different niches. We had a huge out-of-pocket in 2015 with major medical. We started asking a lot of questions about healthcare. We switched what we have, and now we have these things in place, and we had another healthcare event, and it's a totally different outcome. So not only have we've been on both sides, right, major medical and what we call non-traditional, right, traditional, non-traditional, and seeing the difference. Most people don't know that the alternatives are even an option. But like Colorado Springs, whenever we started our business 8 years ago, there were 2 direct primary care companies here in town. I think there are I know that there are over 10 now.
Yeah.
I saw 2 more that opened this last week. So the movement is growing, which is really exciting.
Yes.
But for most business owners, they don't even know that these things exist still. We are so programmed to think
Great word.
that major medical is the only thing available, and it is not.
Yep.
Right.
It was the solution for a lot of people. For some people, it is still going to be the solution. But for a lot of people, it's not.
Right.
We work with employers, anywhere from, 5 people. We have clients that are over 50 people. And they offer, some of them, traditional and non-traditional in the same company.
John's does.
And let them choose. What we're trying to do now is really take back what used to be the cookie cutter plan and give true empowerment to the employee. Instead of it being like, do you want this or this, take it or leave it, it should be, here's things that are available to you.
Yeah.
What do you need? What can you do to build the plan that best works for you?
Yes.
If I have chronic major issues, I'm going to need a major medical plan. If I am young, healthy, very minor underlying things, there's other things that I can do and save money, not just monthly, but out of pocket. And as an employer, people can offer both sides and let the employee truly choose. Most of them,
and you don't have to really be even young. I mean, you can be.
it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. It's more about health, right? But employers don't know, and they're scared to have the conversation because when you just say, "Hey, health insurance," it puts everybody in this box.
Right.
And so we try to not say health insurance and say like healthcare solutions, because there's a lot of things and it's rapidly changing. Like, I mean, gosh, remember when Redbox was a thing and we used to get DVDs in the mail?
Yes.
And now we stream it through like Netflix and stuff, right? Like, things are changing. The healthcare space is rapidly evolving.
Yep.
Employers are demanding change because they're tired of offering the same thing people don't want. They're tired of paying a lot of money for plans that leave thousands of dollars of people in debt, right, whenever they need it. Employees are tired of being offered the same old thing that they can't pay for anyway.
Yep.
And really all we're doing is putting people in healthcare plans they can afford monthly costs but not out of pockets.
Right.
And so it's really kind of a disservice to them. And so we've been like trying to, again, educate people about what else is available. It's not the same thing anymore. But it's hard for people to break that mindset of the traditional
It is
plan.
very difficult. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, that's such good information. Thank you, Brandy.
Yes.
Leo, prostate cancer can be a difficult subject for men to talk about. We've already covered that, right? Yeah, but why is normalizing this conversation so critical? And what happens when we don't normalize it?
Well, we have to normalize it because men just need to know the risk factors, right? I use breast cancer a lot as a comparison for prostate cancer because breast cancer, and not because it's a competition, boys versus girls, right? Even though men can get breast cancer, there are about 5,000 cases a year of men getting breast cancer.
Sure, I keep my breasts
but
small.
only biological males will ever get prostate cancer. Women, biological females are not born with a prostate.
Right.
But with the conversation about prostate cancer, a lot of males don't know their risk. And a lot of it too, what we have to normalize it is because growing up, and especially for the men who are at this time, and right now, like of the age that they should be talking to a physician or already surpassed that age to where they're already into their 50s and 60s and should be already getting regularly tested. They come from a generation like my generation, probably Gen X. And this is like, you're looking back to the 1980s, 1990s. And, if we look back at that culture of that day, not to say these things are right, there was a lot of homophobia and things like that. And so I remember being like in high school in the mid 80s. Yes, I'm that old. But being in high school, right? And the joke was, and we all knew about the prostate exam and we used to make the jokes like someday in your 40s, you're gonna be bent over a table and a doctor's gonna put a glove on and touch you in your butt. And guess what? Guess what, John? You're gonna like it. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not gay. And so there was like this literally like a stigma that was formed by boys in the locker room, and then it became like, well, then I'm never gonna get that test, right? And that is implanted in your brain as a teenager. So guess what? You don't think about ever doing that test, and then you find out in your 40s that, hey, maybe I should have been talking to this about my doctor. Hey, maybe I should have talked about this to my family, because guess what? There's prostate cancer that runs in my family and I didn't know about it. It ran in my family and I didn't know about it.
Is that right?
And actually, my grandfather died of prostate cancer back in 1981 when I was still just a tiny little boy.
Yeah.
So all they told us when he passed away over 40 years ago was that Grandpa died from cancer that spread throughout his body, and it was in his organs and everything else, right? We just knew he died from cancer. And that, when you're a little kid, barely, 7, 8 years old, you don't know the difference between prostate cancer, lung cancer. You don't ask, right?
Cancer.
Conversation never came up in 40 years that it originated in his prostate.
Wow.
And because, but yet on my father's side, where you typically look toward the, males of the family, so you tend to look at fathers, there's no cancer on my dad's side. So we're looking on dad's side, and there's not really anything going on over there. It was on my mom's side, but she had no brothers. So there was kind of like a skip in in a generation, but it still put me at risk because her father.
Direct lineage.
Direct lineage.
Exactly.
It's considered a second degree connection.
Yeah.
First degree would be a brother or a father.
Is that what prompted you to get the test?
No, actually, what prompted me to start getting tested, and keep in mind, I started getting tested earlier than the national guidelines, which absolutely to me, I saved my life.
What is the national guidelines?
Typically, doctors are not going to talk to men about starting to get PSA screenings until 55. I was already stage 2B diagnosis, luckily so still localized. Stage 2B, stage 3 is when it starts to come out and spread. But I was only 49 years old and it was very stage 2B. I had no symptoms. I started at 46 on getting the PSA test because we use the alternative healthcare, and I had access to low cost PSA tests, $6, right? When normally most men are paying anywhere from $70 to over $100 through insurance, because insurance companies are not required to cover PSA until men reach over 55. So we don't have access to early detection testing at no cost or at low cost. I did through the alternative healthcare model we had. And so that's how we started tracking my PSA, my mid-40s. actually starting at 46. And that was really because of my dad. Because my dad has enlarged prostate issues, BPH, which is and so it's all men's prostates continue to grow through their whole lifetime, and so for some men they grow more rapidly, and so it becomes so big it becomes an issue for men being able to urinate and things like that, because the prostate goes the urethra goes through the prostate. Little biology or lesson here, but the prostate sits below the bladder. It helps the man control urinary flow. It also, the urethra goes out of the bladder through the prostate and then out. And so as the men get enlarged prostates, it can hamper your urinary flow. My father had that issue. His father had that issue. So my dad says, hey, well, one of the ways you detect prostate is when you check prostate health. The PSA test is not a cancer detection. It is a prostate health detection. So if that number starts to increase in your PSA, it could be cancer, but it could also just be enlarged prostate. It's a health marker. It's like
mine was elevated.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like your cholesterol, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a heart attack, but you need to monitor it. So PSA is not, but it's the only way we can kind of help check for cancer, even though it is not a true cancer test. So I was getting that done. And so when we saw my numbers change, but I had to access that test much earlier than most men did. And so, and I feel blessed by that. And I think that every man should have that opportunity. And so that's why, for me, I wanted to become so very vocal, because I feel in my story, I had a lot of things that went for me.
So you have been very vocal and very physically visible, climbing mountains, fundraising, all the things. So can you just tell us how can those efforts of what you're doing actually help people who are not aware?
One is
see a difference, or
a little bit of doing the whole blue and stuff like that. It starts the conversation, and that's where part of the normalized conversation is being to where I can walk. We go to Costco, we go to we were at the YMCA. There's random places. We travel in the airport. People stop. We have to travel on business and things. People stop, what's up with the blue hair, right? Or, hey, just to say, or they'll just go, hey, cool hair. And it's like, oh.
Or, hey, didn't I see you on the news?
Yeah. And
That's happened a couple times,
But people like, hey, cool hair. It's like, oh, it's for prostate cancer awareness. And then they'll go oh, well, who do you know that's prostate cancer? Because I don't fit the typical stereotype image. I like to think I don't fit the stereotype, but most people think that prostate cancer looks like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like Joe Biden anymore. There's a lot more younger men that are being diagnosed. And Ben Stiller was diagnosed around the same age that I was diagnosed. There's very famous people that have been diagnosed. Shannon Sharp, diagnosed with prostate cancer, famous Broncos guy. We're in Colorado. There's a lot of famous people who have been diagnosed, early age diagnosis of prostate cancer, but there's not a lot of voice or conversation that continues. They have, but then they stayed kind of quiet.
Well, the problem is it's really hard. It's really hard when, one, you don't know where to look, and then two, you don't feel like people can relate. Yeah. And that is, I think, a big problem is, first off, you were talking about, does it raise awareness and stuff? Yes, because all these people today are learning all kinds of crazy stuff about prostates. But you don't know who your story is going to impact. Yes. And so sharing that is huge. Yeah. We've had so many people that have come to us because we're vocal that are like my brother, my dad, my whoever. I had an email that came in this week from a young woman who her husband is 43 and just got diagnosed. And the email literally is, he doesn't want to tell any of our friends, our family, or our community. He doesn't want anyone to know. How do you ask for help if you don't ask for help? Yeah. And that was for us, it's okay, well, if I'm not even 50 and I get diagnosed, who am I going to go talk to? The guy that's 75 and has already lost erectile function and all these other things? He doesn't get my journey. Right. Who am I supposed to talk to? The lady that's, in her late 60s, who that part of their relationship really doesn't even exist anymore, and they don't care. They're just living their best lives in their golden years. Yeah. Right? It's not the same. Yeah. And so whenever he found other people that understood and, got to, again, share their story with him. Yeah. Same for me when I got to meet other people that are caregivers or care partners, and we got to share our stories. Other people that get it, that's huge. Yes. We don't have that in this community. Yeah. Right? I can't talk to my best girlfriends about this stuff necessarily. I can, but they don't get it.
Yeah. Right.
They want to.
Yes. So it is really important to share your story, regardless of what adversity it is, because you don't know whose life you're going to change because of that.
Yeah. Or who they know who may need you.
Well, and that's what I was saying, in the beginning is really hard to be oh, well, this is my purpose. in the beginning, like I know for a long time, Leo struggled with that, like why me and stuff. And then finally he was like, this is my purpose. Like I am supposed to share this with other people to help other people.
What did Tony Robbins say?
It only took, yes, exactly.
Life happens for you, not to you.
Yes. It took me a long time to figure that out because I still, for the longest time, was like, I'm the support role, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, nope, this is my journey. So we're going to start sharing that. What's that like? And all of those things.
But so many good things can happen out of that as well, Brandy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
People, you're modeling marriage at the same time. You're modeling partnership. You're modeling, because there's so much dysfunction in that space now, right? People need to see people uplifting and supporting one another in the hard parts of life. And if you've been married more than 3 days, you know there's going to be hard parts of life, right? Yeah. Let me ask you this question, Brandon, before we go on. Beyond business, you're also a nonprofit leader and advocate. So how do communities and employers play a role in supporting patients and caregivers in that space that you're in?
Well, I think, every sometimes all we have is each other. And we all need to figure out like how we're going to help advocate for each other in whatever space or, capacity that is. I think every employer should find some kind of purpose for their business. And whether that's, like we do community cleanups for waterways and we do cancer stuff, like everyone should find what their thing is, whether it's veterans or service dogs or I don't know. Whatever your purpose is, you should find a reason to make your business,
Partner.
well, no, to give back, find a way that you can do something to create ripples. How do you make waves, right? It's like we all just go through life, going through the motions. We work bills, we pay, we work, we pay bills, we die. Like, what is the fun in that? How do we create legacy? Like we don't have children. And so it's like, all right, well, this is our purpose and this is the legacy we're going to create. Every business should find what legacy they're trying to build. And building a family business is great, but if your kid doesn't want it, what great is that? So invest in the community and the people around you, because the more people you can impact, the more obviously difference you can make.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that. So Brandy, for leaders or business owners listening today, what's one step they can take to make healthcare more humane for their teams?
Have the conversation. Like there is no obligation to do anything in life, but you don't know what you don't know, and find the information. Ask the questions. It's all about how do I grow as a person? And if you're living in your little box and you're not learning new things, then you'll never be able to evolve. You'll never be able to do more. You'll never be able to serve more. How can you truly empower yourself to take care of your people? If you love and care for your staff like their actual family, have the conversation. It is worth a 30-minute open dialogue. How can we help you? Like, we're not going to tell you what you need or any of those things, but education's everything. And that's the only way that we truly empower ourselves to be better.
Indeed.
Right? No, they say knowledge is power.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is only power if it's actionable.
Absolutely.
I was about to say, that was the parentheses. If you take action on it.
If you actually act on it. It's
Otherwise, it's
completely
just knowledge.
It's just knowledge.
completely pointless if you don't utilize it.
Leo, for men or families hearing this who may feel afraid or uncertain, what message of encouragement would you want them to hear today?
Well, one is just, like we were kind of mentioned before, is we have to normalize conversation, break the stigma. Like I was saying, as kids growing up, we had, that idea of that's what the test looked at and, looks like with the finger and everything. And so that's transpired into, why maybe men are avoiding the test or even avoiding the conversation with their doctors. But realizing that, again, education, right? Educating men. Hey, it's a blood test. Hey, guess what? If you have a family history, if you're African American, if you are a veteran, you are high risk for prostate cancer. Yes. It is the most, it is the most diagnosed cancer in the veteran community. 1 in 5.
Absolutely.
It is 1 in 6 African American males will be diagnosed in their lifetime, and they're twice as likely to die from the disease than white males. Yeah, and then it's 1 in 8 across all males in general. So just knowing that information, knowing okay, if it puts me at high risk, I should be talking about this stuff in my 40s, not 55, because it's going to be too late for a lot of men. So normalize, and then breaking also the stigma too, because I think part of where I think, and this is where the part where I think men go silent about it is because it's the side effects of prostate cancer. And especially when a man gets diagnosed with this young and the side effects impact a young male, it could be very, very detrimental. And the two biggest known and most, I guess, feared side effects of prostate cancer is erectile dysfunction and incontinence.
Yep.
And so as a young male, and even for me, I was like, I wanted to find treatment options that were going to help preserve function because of her. All right, of course, hey, I'm not going to lie about it, right? I'm like, I'm there.
I understand.
And then also too, urinary incontinence is important because I like to go hiking, I like to be outdoors and things like this, and it's like, and the last thing I climbed Kilimanjaro in September. For zero prostate cancer, we raised over was close to $500,000 through climbing with 17 other climbers.
Group of people, that's pretty awesome.
Group of climbers, right. And they comprise of prostate cancer survivors, prostate cancer advocates, and caregivers and supporters, and then even just people who just were like they just wanted to get behind the cause that hadn't really been touched by prostate cancer. There were 17 of us that went on that climb. 14 of us made it to the top. 13 of us made it to the top. So 4 of us didn't make it. I got there, thank God. It was a challenge, but there was one of the men that was with us, prostate cancer survivor for many years, has incontinence issues, so he's here climbing Kilimanjaro. He had to bring a supply of pads while we're climbing because of the fact that he has no urinary continence. And so and it's like, and I have total empathy for him, and I feel for him as much, and I love the guy to death. I've known him for years now. He's very involved in the prostate cancer community, and it's like, and I'm blessed that I didn't experience that. But for him, he didn't have, he went a different route in his treatment, and that was some of the side effects. And I think that's what scares men about admitting or even talking about prostate cancer is because they literally they're afraid of the side effects, so they don't even want to talk about the issue at all. And it's like, but guess what? If you catch it early, your chances of having those side effects are very small because you can go through different treatments. But if it's advanced, you're going to have those side effects because there's not going to be an option. They're going to remove the prostate. They're going to radiate it. They're going to chemically castrate you using androgen deprivation therapy. Anything they can do to stop the progression of prostate cancer. Because once it goes metastatic, that's it. It's not good news.
I got to say this. Yeah. What really sticks with me throughout this whole show today, it goes back to you as a power couple. From the Tony Robbins experience of the epiphany of communication.
Oh, yeah.
And realizing, hey, I thought I've been having this problem too. I've been thinking about this too, and resonating and starting to build your relationship there. And then all of a sudden, bam.
The things that you have to talk about during this process, like the whole conversation about functionality.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't want you to die.
Right.
But, you're worried about that?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is,
I want to have the longest life I can. Yeah. Nobody cares about that. We'll figure that out, okay? For this, that is not what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And so you better learn how to have these conversations.
We've had these conversations with patients and caregivers. I've met, Dwight Eubanks.
Yes.
Dwight Eubanks was diagnosed with prostate cancer. If you know who that is,
he was the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
If you follow it, we don't follow it. But naturally, he's a recent diagnosis. He's gone public with his diagnosis. And I had a conversation with him, and he's like, I don't want to undergo treatment because he goes, for me, it is important. Sexual function and incontinence is a very important fact. Now, for partners, they're like, no, we want you to live. But it's like the man going through the diagnosis and we're going to have some different, ideas of what our priorities is, Now, if I was an 85-year-old male and I got diagnosed, I'd be like, I'm 85, I don't, no big deal. But no, I mean, not even 50 years old and getting diagnosed. It's like, no, I mean, I still feel like I have plenty of life ahead of me, and I don't want this to hold back on that. So priorities are a little bit different because, it's one thing to be alive, but,
quality of life.
Quality of life, too. And so I think that's what scares a lot of men into avoid being tested because they're worried about, well, what's my quality of life going to be like if I get diagnosed? Well,
I'd rather not know. And never have to have the surgery or any of the things.
And just die.
And just die.
Yeah. But our priorities are different. And, and so, like I said, for me, it was very important to maintain, to do as much as I can to preserve those functions. And, I've been, again, my journey, I've been very blessed. And so I look at myself like, does it suck to be diagnosed with cancer? Absolutely. Have I gone through a lot of mental trauma and stuff like that? Absolutely. but have I met some amazing people along the way? Have I found inspiration from others? I mean, I was inspired to start doing my fundraiser where I climb the Manitou Incline every single day in September, repeatedly, and every day in a row to raise awareness in September and funds, because I met another survivor who rode a bike all the way across the edge of the country going through stage 4 prostate cancer. And I'm like, well, heck, if he can ride a bike all the way across the country going through stage 4, 11,000 miles on a bicycle, I got to do something, And so, that's how I came up with mine. It's like, well, what's in my backyard? And the incline. So that's how I started doing that.
Did you do the cold plunge to recoup from that? I would have been doing that every day.
No, we have a cold plunge.
We hold a cold plunge, but we haven't got it set up yet.
Oh, it is amazing.
Oh, yes.
That's my new addiction.
Yeah.
We have a cold plunge at our gym, and I do it every day because I dance as
It
well.
is really therapeutic.
And now it's game on for recovery, for muscle recovery. It's amazing.
But but in the process though, I mean the connections and relationships and also then it's it's like literally it's like now I'm thinking about it in my head, it should make me think about it. It's like of all these different people, like, oh my gosh, I got to reach out to that person, because there's amazing contacts that I've made that can really take this movement really farther. And that's really what the goal is. I mean, I would love it my goal, I will I got the blue hair and the blue clothes and all that kind of stuff. But really, I'll know that I guess my goal has been achieved when I see that first football game that actually where the players, have a little blue ribbon on their helmet, right? Yeah. Or they got blue laces on their shoes. They're wearing blue catching gloves in September. I mean, NFL starts in September.
Or when we watch the football game and it's a commercial for prostate cancer awareness and not breast cancer awareness. That'd be great too.
Last year's Super Bowl had a commercial for breast cancer. Yet here we have an audience. We have millions of men watching the Super Bowl.
Who's your demographic?
Around the world, and what's your demographic?
Yeah.
And we don't do a prostate cancer commercial.
Absolutely.
The commercial needs to be like, hey, ladies, listen up. Get your men to the doctors.
Yes, and
because
of course,
if we leave it to them, they won't do it.
Men won't do it. It's got to be the significant other that makes that appointment.
Yep.
Well, okay, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Told you we talk a lot.
Back on track.
My takeaway from today is, you don't really have to be very bright to understand the takeaway. You guys are living, breathing examples of what you're trying to put out to community. Right? Thank you for the hair and all the things that bring awareness and make people ask questions. Because that's where it's happening, right? Yeah. The questions that get asked. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing in this space. Obviously, I wish you didn't have to do the work in the space, but I think God picks whom He picks for reasons. Yeah. Right? No other people would probably speak up because we see that in community or not, and you are.
I mean, I've actually said it. It's like I look at it. It's like it's been actually a blessing. There's parts of my life I never thought I'd be where I am today, if it wasn't for the diagnosis, and having that big shift in things that I've learned on the journey and things that I'm still continuing to learn and where I want to see where this journey can take me.
Well, the battle in the mind, I'm sure you've had to battle. We haven't talked about the ugly, but I'm sure there's been depression, anxiety, high stress, a little bit, but it's people need to know that that's the real part as well. You know what I'm saying?
But
keep in mind, you live in dark for a long time before you get to the light.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's you
if,
take.
If life was all a high, then we wouldn't. It would just every day would just be the same. You have to become grateful. You have to experience sometimes the unfortunate things in life, right? You have to experience the hardships and the hard times and sadness and loss in life to then really appreciate all that life has to give.
Yes.
There are no mountains if you don't have valleys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, Brandy, since you are our panel hostess with the mostest, we're going to have you go first.
Okay, sure.
So we would like you to take a moment and look at the camera. Let them know if you have anything upcoming, and then your services, how to reach you, and then encourage the world.
Okay. What do we have coming up? Well,
DC.
the biggest thing, yes, two things. If you follow our Nunes Partners on Facebook, you're going to see some updates coming pretty soon. In February, we will be traveling to Washington, D.C. to advocate on behalf of Zero Prostate Cancer for legislation change. We go to D.C. every year. This will be our third year, and we go in and we advocate, talk to our state legislators about them actually changing things that healthcare should be doing, like paying for early detection screening for high-risk men.
Yes.
So you'll see a lot about that because we really need to start pushing for some of these bills to get passed on a state level versus a federal level. If we do it here locally, we can actually start changing things locally instead of waiting for the government to do it for us on a federal level. There's a lot of states that are adopting now state plans where they're actually implementing some of this stuff. So you'll see some updates about Washington, D.C. The big thing, Leo can't have all the fun, right? And so Kilimanjaro was really cool, but that's not on my bucket list, right? Now, Machu Picchu has always been on my bucket list. And when Leo signed up for Kilimanjaro, I told him absolutely not. But if they ever do Machu Picchu, I'm down. And so they did announce that last year. So we've actually raised a little over $14,000 towards the pretty much about 28,000-ish we need to raise. 30,000 for Machu Picchu. But it is a high altitude climb that we're doing in June. And it starts at 16,000 feet. It's 8 days, 40 miles. And so I get to process a lot of the stuff that we've gone through the past couple years, right? Because that is going to really push me to the limit mentally. You'll find information about the Machu Picchu climb on our Facebook page as well as nunespartners.com. As far as a business and the services that we offer, we support local employers that are tired of paying into a broken system or looking for a better way. If you've explored healthcare benefits and you're looking for something different, we're probably the something different. We're definitely not what you normally expect in the healthcare space. But we offer customized healthcare plans for local businesses, allowing them to truly empower their staff to protect themselves the way they need to most within a budget that makes sense for them. Right. So no cookie cutter plans. Again, we're a little different. Reach out to us at nunespartners.com.
Yeah.
Leo, you're next.
Same thing, but you don't have to regurgitate all
Yeah.
that she said.
You
so,
can encourage the
so
world.
you can just encourage the world.
Yes.
I love the opportunity to go to DC. So 3 years ago, this is our third trip to DC in a row. This February, it's been an amazing experience because it also helps me learn a little bit more about how our federal government works or doesn't work, especially at the congressional level, because all these things are going through Congress. So it's been an amazing experience and getting to be able to participate in that. And so really excited about getting to do that again and hopefully institute change. And like Brandy said, we are going to be looking to institute some talking to our local state legislators because the federal government works a little bit slower than sometimes states do. And so we're going to be looking to try and do things here at the state level as well this year. She said Machu Picchu, yes, as well. Then in September, I will be doing my Incline to Inspire. I'll be doing the Manitou Incline again every single day for 30 days in a row. The month of September, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Wear your blue ribbon. Don't have to color the hair blue unless you want to. But then, and then we have our, and then in November, we do a fundraiser as well, though, for cancer awareness, both to bring awareness to ovarian and gynecological cancers, as well as prostate cancer. So we call that our No Cancer November Casino Night fundraiser.
What a Sue's gift.
Yeah, well, they're one of the beneficiaries, yes, from those funds. So this past year, we raised $28,000 and donated half to Sue's Gift and then half to Zero Prostate Cancer.
Yeah. Last year we raised we were able to after all the costs and things like that we were able to actually donate a little over $10,000 last year. This year we were able to donate over close to $28,000 this year. So we more than doubled last year's fundraising with the event. So we hope to do that even bigger and better this year. That's going to be November 13th. And then really I think after that then we have
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Hang on, this guy, you don't understand. This guy now, the Kilimanjaro was like the tip, right? And now it's like, what am I going to do now to try to conquer and do more? He is already committed to doing Everest Base Camp for 2027. And so he's going to, I should have gotten way more
Frank,
life
you're looking at me kind of like
before his diagnosis.
You're staring at me kind of funny.
Yeah.
I watched those films on those Everest things.
Now, I'm not going to the summit.
Just
base camp.
Just
base camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Base
it's
camp
still
is
like
still healthy.
18,000, 19,000
It's still,
Yeah.
But no, it's still, we're still going to go to Base Camp Everest. And so that's going to be a climb for prostate cancer awareness and to raise funds as well, too. And that's in 2027. So, and then maybe I might throw something else in there. I'm thinking about it.
We'll have you back. We can have you back next year.
Yes, the crazy thing is,
guys.
crazy thing is, I've never even done a 14er here in Colorado.
Really?
I've never even summited a 14er
And
in
you're
Colorado.
just like, let me go to the top.
And let
Kilimanjaro.
me do 19,341 feet in Kilimanjaro, and now I want to do the Andes, and I want to do the Himalayas, and
You do that.
Yeah. Don't feel bad. I look at him like that too. I'm like, you're crazy. But then you know what? Well,
in
it
a
really,
good way,
but it
that's what
pushes
you
me to
need
be better
though.
too.
But
you
at the
know?
same time,
So-
though, one, it raised money to help support zero prostate cancer
Yeah.
because they do. So zero prostate cancer. Think of them as like they're like the Susan G. Komen in the prostate cancer space. So their big focus is they focus specifically on resources going directly to the men going through the disease, as well as also supporting their families. So financial support groups, medical advice and care. They have a number of resources directly helping the people going through the disease. They're not a research-driven kind of nonprofit when it comes to prostate cancer. Now, they also, though, they spend a lot of time in the legislative space because they knew we need federal government help to get the word out. But when you compare the two, though, Susan G. Komen has a budget of about $150 million a year. Zero prostate cancer is about 12 to 15, so about a tenth of the size. So doing all this is to help bring more funds and awareness, to bring more money and resources to them so they can reach more men. But then, through the process of doing these stupid, crazy things that I'm doing, it's like the news runs a story. The Gazette, ran a story, did an article about us not that long ago. And next thing you know, I get an email from a gentleman who got diagnosed recently. He said, "Hey, I just diagnosed last month. I saw the story in the Gazette. Hope you don't mind me reaching out, but I'd like to hear more about your story."
You're hearing more because of the Be Encouraged
Yes,
show with Frank.
exactly.
Yeah, and so I was able to communicate with him, give him more details about my personal journey, and even referred him to my doctor who he had an appointment with because he's really interested in the treatment options that I went with versus what his doctors are telling him to go with. And so, and that's
Again,
part
you
of it.
don't know how you're going to help change somebody's
Exactly.
life,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
can be a variety of different
And
things.
that you met him right where he needed to be met. That's
That's
incredible.
right. We got to close, guys.
Yep.
So I know we
can keep going
This,
now.
I know this has gone longer than he gives us time.
Okay.
For. We'll still have this on here.
We'll edit. We can edit stuff.
Yeah. The Nunes Partners.
Yes.
Yes. So what a great show today, Lisa.
Yes.
Glad that we had the opportunity to have these people on. Thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you for having us. No, we're blessed and grateful.
I'm
Yeah,
glad I
blessing.
have her on speed dial. 'Cause I was just
Indeed.
like,
We're sponsored by Brandon Kirk from Planet Duck.
Yes, he's the owner of Planet Duct, and he has the largest vacuums, strongest vacuums. And what is his slogan again, Frank?
Yeah, they're stronger than the vacuum of space. And Brandon and his family, with his 3 children, are just incredible. I know them personally. We've had a great opportunity to know them. He's a great family man. 25 years, been married to, what is his wife's name? Gaba?
Gaba. And she's a beautiful artist. And yes, they have an amazing farm as well. But he loves the Colorado Springs. His give back throughout all local businesses in town is amazing. And we sure do appreciate him in town.
And one last thing, many of you didn't know this, but Brandon has mentored many small business people in this community.
Yes.
His give back to our community is exceptional. So they really are.
Stronger than the vacuum of space.
Look up Planet Duck.
all right, so that's it for today's Be Encouraged. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, and follow us on our encouragement journey at beencouraged.net.
Indeed do. We are committed to infusing hope and encouragement into the world through organic conversations with incredible humans. So as always on the Be Encouraged show, we're real talk, real growth, real Colorado.
Stay encouraged.